I felt a little bit of relief knowing that I'm going to be protected.
Starting today, Spokane County's first responders are getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Over the next 10 days, about 3,000 first responders in the county are expected to get the vaccine.
Plus, could 3rd through 5th graders be headed back to school in Spokane? SPS says it will be providing more information on that soon. What we know tonight.
And we're tracking widespread rain across the inland northwest today. I'll have the rest of your workweek forecast coming up.
Good evening. We begin with some breaking news at this hour. Take a look at these pictures. Authorities have issued an Amber Alert for a missing 15-year-old out of Yakima. Angeles Revuelta Buenrostro went to take out the garbage at her home around 11:20 this morning, and they say she did not return.
What's more, they say Angeles was recently recovered from Arizona, where a 36-year-old man coerced her via social media and recently made threats to come take the victim and kill her family. His name is Daniel Ovante, and he's last known to be driving a black 2001 Ford F-150 pickup with Arizona plates BYR 6257. Authorities say he does have a felony warrant and should be considered armed and dangerous. So if you see him or know where he might be, you are urged to call police. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Well, they are the ones that we call for help, and today they started getting the COVID-19 vaccine themselves. Over the next 10 days, about 3,000 Spokane County first responders will get that vaccine.
This includes all firefighters, paramedics, ambulance, and some EMS law enforcement. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley joins us live from that drive-through clinic at the Fire Training Center tonight to explain the process. Amanda?
Hey, good evening, Mark and Whitney. To be really clear, this drive-through vaccination clinic here at the Fire Training Center is not open to the public. It is here only for first responders, such as firefighters and ambulance, as well as paramedics and EMS-trained law enforcement. Now, to some here today, getting vaccinated is a huge relief.
Little by little, more of our frontline workers are getting the COVID-19 vaccine.
I felt good taking the shot. I didn't even feel it going in my arm.
Tom Chavez is a paramedic with Spokane County Fire District 8. He told me throughout the pandemic, Chavez would respond to calls suspecting COVID might be there.
Initially, the first thought was, am I protected enough to get in there and then come home to my family?
He trusts his gear and the PPE he wears to these calls and will continue wearing them. And now that he is vaccinated, Chavez says the worry of being protected well enough no longer crosses his mind.
I felt a little bit of relief knowing that I'm going to be protected pretty close to the near future, and then I'm going to protect my family. Eventually they'll get it. We'll all be protected. And I think that sense of relief is something I have not felt in the past 9 months.
EMS personnel are now trained in administering the COVID-19 vaccine. Once they are vaccinated, these first responders will be able to give the vaccine to people in future phases of distribution.
Getting my community vaccinated so they can get out, have some kind of normalcy back in their lives, it's a wonderful feeling.
The Spokane Regional Health District expects direction on the 1B group from the state sometime this week. Then we could learn a timeline of distribution for this category. Those who qualify for Group 1B may include people with an illness that makes them high risk for the virus, such as cancer or heart failure.
Now, at this hour, about 130 first responders have received the Moderna vaccine here at the drive-through clinic. And so far, the health district is not aware of anyone showing symptoms after injection. Reporting in Spokane, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
I can't even imagine why. I mean, I know there are people who feel that way, but I can't feel that way. You know, I just can't even understand where they're coming from.
So that is a resident of Touchmark, a senior living facility. He says he feels lucky to have access to the COVID-19 vaccine.
The CDC says 8 out of 10 COVID-19 deaths reported in the U.S. have been in individuals older than 65. KREM 2's Morgan Trowell spoke with staffers at the facility where 100 residents and staff members have been vaccinated so far.
The coronavirus vaccine is going to those most vulnerable first. retirement homes, and assisted living facilities. 91 years, 10 different homes across the world, and a lifetime of wisdom.
Why in the hell would you not want to get one? I can't even conceptualize why people are afraid of vaccinations.
Jack Gurian has seen it all: war, famine, plagues. He says his history of working in the Foreign Service State Department showed him how lucky Americans are.
To me, especially when I lived and worked, in places like India and Pakistan, where vaccinations save the lives of thousands, if not millions of people, so you get a very different perspective.
He currently lives at Touchmark, a senior living community on Spokane's South Hill. The center had its first drive in their vaccination event in late December, giving out 125 of Pfizer's vaccine. They have been proactive about sanitation and testing, allowing them not to have any cases currently.
And people are really excited to have it coming and looking forward to the next 2 clinics with the vaccines.
Jack says the management has helped older people like him feel comfortable and safe in such a high-risk environment. Right now, family can meet their loved one outside to visit, but hopefully the community can let them inside once residents and staff are vaccinated by February.
It's a wonderful thing to be able to count on a vaccination, especially when you, as I have, live and work in a place where people die constantly. They were there in the morning and they're not there anymore.
Jack will be able to get his vaccine in the next drive later this month. Reporting on the South Hill, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
The Washington State Department of Health is launching a new tool that will allow residents to determine their eligibility for the COVID-19 vaccine. It's called Phase Finder.
So it allows users to basically take a survey that will help you determine when you'll be able to get the vaccine. Now, currently, the tool only works for determining if people are eligible for phase 1 of the vaccine plan. The tool will then officially roll out after January 6th, and it will help determine which phase of the vaccine plan everyone else will become eligible. The DOH will also notify residents by text message or email when they become eligible to get the vaccine. In the meantime, a Washington union which is representing grocery store workers wants to see them get vaccinated as soon as possible.
That is due to those workers facing potential exposure on a daily basis. However, grocery store workers are currently listed in Group 1B according to CDC recommendations. Right now, healthcare workers and residents or workers in long-term care facilities make up the first group to get vaccinated. But some workers waiting next in line worry that process is moving slowly.
If the line's not moving, then, we're just stuck back here. But we're on the front lines every day, every hour, 8 to 10 hours a day.
United Food and Commercial Workers, which is the union that represents thousands of grocery workers, says those employees should be vaccinated quickly along with other essential workers.
Do you have a vaccine question you'd like the KREM 2 vaccine team to look into? Text it to us at 509-448-2000 and we'll work to bring you all the facts.
In the meantime, for the latest COVID-19 vaccine updates, all you have to do is text the word vaccine to that same number. We'll send it right to your phone.
In other news, the Spokane Regional Health District reporting 200 new COVID cases today. 3 more deaths were also reported today. Since the pandemic began, there have been 27,562 coronavirus cases in the county. Currently, 112 people are in our local hospitals being treated for COVID.
And in North Idaho, the Panhandle Health District is now reporting 545 new cases just since Thursday. 3 new deaths were also reported in that same time frame. Currently, 87 people are hospitalized.
Even with high COVID case numbers, several local school districts are starting to bring back more students for in-person learning.
That's because in mid-December, Governor Jay Inslee and the state superintendent of public instruction unveiled new guidelines for reopening. So guidelines that said schools aren't actually that big of a source of the virus's spread. Even for areas with extremely high COVID activity, like Spokane, for example, these guidelines called for the phased reintroduction of in-person learning at certain grade levels. So right now, it says to prioritize K through 3, then phase in grades 4 and 5. It also says, though, to keep class sizes to 15 or fewer.
2 days later, Spokane Health Officer Dr. Frank Velasquez made a big announcement. He officially endorsed phasing in grades 3 through 5 in Spokane Public Schools starting in mid-January. Now, at the time, SPS had only K through 12 in person. That's still the case now. The same day, Superintendent Adam Swinyard sent a message to families, and it did not provide any concrete update other than an announcement would be coming on January 6th. And that's all we know at the moment right now.
We also know, though, that on this Wednesday, we are expected to hear exactly how SPS plans to handle that phased-in reopening for grades 3 through 5. So that'll be 3 weeks after Inslee's initial update.
All right, let's talk weather now. Kind of gray, windy, and rainy out there. We've pretty much seen constant rain around the Spokane area all day.
Yeah, Tom Sherry is joining us now. So, Tom, we heard that we'll be saying more wet weather. So I guess if you haven't gotten your wet, weather gear, now's the time to be getting it out, right?
Absolutely. Maybe a month ago we should have been thinking about that. We are going to dry out, though, tomorrow. But then by tomorrow night into Wednesday, you got it. We got more on the way. It is currently raining, 41 degrees. You can see the wind is out of the south right now at 11 miles per hour. That's a live look downtown, and you can see that we've got, again, lots and lots of moisture on the roadways downtown. And you saw that Doppler radar there ever so briefly, showing the rain mostly in northern Idaho and western Montana. Snow falling at the higher elevations. Look for mostly cloudy skies tonight with an overnight low of 30, so we could get some black ice on the roadways. 41 the expected high tomorrow. Look for partly to mostly cloudy skies. Again, it will be a dry Tuesday before we see evening rain develop Tuesday evening into Wednesday. I'm always looking ahead to the weekend. Right now, I've got mostly cloudy skies Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the mid to upper 30s, overnight lows in the upper 20s. I'll check the rest of your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks very much, Tom. Well, the NCAA announced today that all 67 men's basketball tournament games, including the Final Four, will be played entirely in Indiana. Those games will be played in multiple locations around the state, and this is just an attempt to keep the event from being canceled for a second consecutive year because of the coronavirus. Championship weekend is still scheduled right now for April 3rd and April 5th, but preliminary round dates haven't been determined yet. Here's the other thing. The next time that we know March Madness games will be held in Spokane isn't going to be until 2024.
All right.